men's issue, and go in there with an open mind here as well. A lot of you guys are here for a variety of different reasons. Either this is your first time hearing about Peace Corps, or you've already applied, or you're thinking about applying, and you're just figuring out what in the world did I just sign up for. I just want you to leave here knowing that Peace Corps is an awesome experience, and that it's something that I want everyone to get the opportunity to do. I was never one of those people that, as a kid, and I was like, I always want to do the Peace Corps. It wasn't until my junior year of college when I was doing different community service events, and I met RPCVs, and they would tell me about their service, and I was like, what in the world is it that you guys are doing? And I got really interested in Peace Corps, and I would go to events like this, and every time I left, I would come to the consensus that it's not just community service, you're in and you're out, but it's really a 27-month commitment. So your adventure starts the day that you get onto the plane. I remember going to LAX before my flight to Fiji, and I was really nervous and excited and scared, and I was like, what in the world am I getting into? But I looked across the airport, and there were other future Peace Corps volunteers there, and I thought, wow, this is real, this is happening, I'm so excited, yay! And that was just the motivation that I needed to just get on that plane and go. And I think that was the biggest step that I took, just getting there. And I said, once I get on that plane, I'm definitely gonna stay the whole time. So why Peace Corps? Everyone has, like Catherine said, a different experience, and I think that's shaped on the reason why you decide to go. Is it just to serve? Is it to grow? Is it to learn? Do you want a really cool experience? I think mine was a combination of all those things. And it's okay if your reason changes throughout the process. Just have just that experience. So many people say, where is Tonga? Is it in Africa? And no, it's in the South Pacific. It's a Polynesian island. Most people are familiar with Fiji or Samoa or the bigger islands, New Zealand and Australia. It's right in between there. And it's an island group, so as a volunteer, we were scattered between all of these different islands, and they're all very beautiful. Just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place to serve. I feel really blessed to have been able to go there. Sometimes when I talk to people, they say, well, I don't really know because I don't know if I have the skills, I don't know if I'll be able to fit in with the culture, or I'm not really good at learning a language. And Peace Corps really prepares you before you go. I mean, obviously you have to have some sort of skill set in choosing the sector that you're going to go into, but they teach you what's appropriate to wear, what kind of spaces that you should be in. They teach you about the language. Tonga is the Tongan language, and they give you the technical training. So I was in the education sector. My undergrad degree is in social science education. I wanted to be a history teacher, but being a great teacher in the United States is not the same as being a great teacher in another country that you go to. Their culture is different, their structure is different. So Peace Corps really gives you those tools to be able to adapt what you've learned maybe in the United States to where you're going to go next. Even though you may be in a beautiful place, you're dealing with real challenges, real issues. Just a quick story in terms of limited resources. At the end of the year, students are given, it's a prize giving ceremony, and we only had $200, which is $100 US left in our account. And every kid, I think we had 87 kids at the school, was supposed to get a prize, but we didn't have anything to give them. And the electricity went off. As you can see, there's a candle stuck in the ground with some silly putty. And my parents had come in June, before the end of the school year, and they had given me some things. And I ran to my house and I picked up the bag. I was like, well, can we use this? It was just a bunch of little knickknacks. And we took those and we used them. We didn't have any paper to wrap, so we used printer paper. Didn't have any tape, we used glue. We glued it together, and those were the gifts that we kind of give to the kids, and they were so happy. And I think just to be able to, I take back now that I'm back here, just using what you've got to produce whatever you can. You're also, like Catherine said, personal development. There are going to be those times where you're in your home, you're alone, you hear the cockroaches maybe on the ground, or you're looking at the ants crawling around the ceiling, and those are those times where you really figure out, who are you, why are you here, and you start questioning the things that you're seeing. How is this changing me? And I think that shapes kind of how you move, but that time is so important because we don't get that in the United States all the time. It's like hustle and bustle, you're going from one thing to the next. So So just to be able to take that time and really develop who you are. Resiliency. So I was actually at 2 sites. My first site was on one of the outer islands, and they call them cyclones in the South Pacific, but here we would call them hurricanes. A hurricane came and completely destroyed my village, my home, and my community. And I had to be uprooted into a brand new site. That was hard, because you never know. I didn't know if I was still going to be in Peace Corps. I didn't know what was going to happen. I had made so many great relationships. But it taught me not to take anything for granted. You know, sometimes I say, oh, I'm going to go to that person's house next week, or I'm going to participate in that activity maybe in a month, or go to that part of the island. But you never know if you have a chance to do those things again. And like Catherine was saying, say yes. Become the yes person. Yes, I'll go over there, go here. Because you may not have that opportunity again. I was an English language facilitator. That was my job. So I worked at a school, and even though that was my primary job, I was able to still do other things. Get creative. You don't have to be the best teacher, but just kind of always be, again, like the yes person. Yeah, I'll make these resources, or yes, I'll help you with this class subject. And sometimes, even though I was focusing on English, I was also helping out, maybe I'm making some math activities, because there were no teacher training development workshops for any subject on my island. Some projects that I did, well, I was doing obviously community service, and I wanted to show the kids in my school what community service looked like. So Tonga, there was a lot of plastic bottles or plastic can bottles all over the ground, and we would pick those up, and we started a recycling program, recycled it, and then the money went back to the school. And it was great. They took the coconut leaves and they made baskets out of them. We collected it, and we got about $100, and we bought some ice cream with it. Another thing was I created a literacy center within my school, basically a library, and that's where I did all my teacher development workshops. I had a place where I could take kids to the side and do different activities with them, and my teachers included. And this was a nice way to integrate into my school, so I didn't hop into their class and say, let me teach you how to teach English. It was, no, you can come here. I kind of had a space of my own in which they would help me with. And as I said, you don't have to be the best teacher. There are other projects that you can do. If you're really great at making resources, that was one part of service that volunteers focused on, just making resources for their teacher. If you like backpacking, or you like sports, start a club and do those different types of things as well. The GPS Hoy was the name of the school that I was at, and a project that I worked on was this community school garden. We had a child hunger problem. I would be teaching, and kids would be throwing up in class because they hadn't had dinner, or they didn't have breakfast, and they were just really hungry. And it was so sad. And we had this plot of land in the back of my school, and I kind of was talking with my teachers about, well, what can we do to solve this problem? I'm living in a poor village, and so we decided to make a garden. And like Catherine, I don't know anything about farming or agriculture or anything like that, but the people in the community did. So what we did was we had a grant and got seedlings, paid someone for some control to turn up the soil, and we planted, and it was this huge plantation. And parents from the community would buy the produce, and then we'd take some of that money and buy meat, and then every day we'd have lunch. And at least we knew that once a day these kids would be getting a meal. And also, if they're in class and they're hungry, go outside and go get a carrot. And they would literally run out there, pluck a carrot out of the ground, and eat it. And it was just kind of cool. And it's also nice, I lived on the school grounds, so I would just be like, I'm hungry today. And I would go out there and just, okay, there's some lettuce over here, there's a tomato over here, there's a carrot over here. Then I would go in my house and cook food. I never have to go to the market. It was kind of nice. What's great about Peace Corps is also that you make lasting relationships with people. Even Peace Corps volunteers, all have unique backgrounds coming from different parts of the United States, and you all bring something to the table. And that's one thing that I loved about Peace Corps. I grew from my fellow PCVs, but also from the Tongans that I was able to meet. Expand your possibilities. culture is so important. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be a part of Peace Corps, to experience a new culture, to learn a new language, and just to be able to have the opportunity to even just show my culture to another group of people who were really interested was totally beneficial. Here I am at this funeral event, and I had another picture in which like I'm in it, and I never would have thought that like I would be at someone else's funeral, like dressed in this completely different garb. Just really cool. And this was at another island that I was at, and I'm barbecuing a pig. If any of you guys have been to Hawaii, pigs are like huge in Tonga. They're running around everywhere, and it's a delicacy. And just to be able to be on a beach, having started a fire, standing out there and turning and cooking this pig, I never would have thought. And there's the ocean in the background, and you can see it's just like, oh, this is beautiful and weird at the same time. I, as well, was in the Peace Corps Masters International program. I had getting my master's in international comparative education, and I finished and graduate in 3 weeks. Yay! Just to have the opportunity to combine graduate coursework with experience, apply it in the field, learn new people, think about things that influence education that I never would have thought of. Obviously, I knew health was important, but I didn't think that it played as big of a factor in the classroom as it did. How can you could have the best teachers and the best school and the best infrastructure, but if your kids are in there hungry, they're not learning anything. That's probably something I wouldn't have thought of if I hadn't really had that experience. It's on-the-job training. You come back to people who have similar interests as you, and at the end, you write a capstone, and you have a paper and a presentation. How has this impacted me now that I'm back? Well, I just joined the Rotary Club here in Tallahassee, and I think one thing about Peace Corps is that you are drawn to people who want to serve. I think Rotary Clubs is service above self, and who want to make a difference within their community. It doesn't matter what age they are, you just want people who are like-minded and who are similar. And something else that FSU just got, and as a grad student I'm working on right now, is FSU's Peace Corps Prep for undergrads who are interested in going into the Peace Corps. You would graduate with a certificate from Peace Corps, and it kind of makes you more competitive if you're looking to go into the Peace Corps. And the adventure doesn't stop here, so I'm really excited to see what happens next in my life and take these different skills and
something that you may not think is a big deal is something people in your community won't know